George, welcome to Las Vegas. It feels very Vegas in here. We're in the Mercedes Vegas Lounge. And on the wall over there, we've got some B-roll to show the audience, is a portrait of you made of dice.
Dice, yeah, I'm liking it. It's so Vegas, isn't it? It's, still getting used to the environment here, and it's challenging. You're just living in the night. You have the sessions at 10 p.m. at night. We'll be here until the early hours of the morning. So for the body clock and getting used to the jet lag, it's quite tough.
But you get a unique perspective of this place. Well, you and the other drivers are not quite unique, but nearly. I mean, what is it like driving around here? How much did it blow your mind? You're an F1 driver, you get to do this all around the world, but how much did it blow your mind when you came here last year?
I got to be honest, I was really impressed with the whole setup and just seeing the strip and all the hotels and the big buildings and all the lights. It's quite a wow factor. When you get in the car and you put the helmet on and the visor goes down, everything else is a blur. You don't even see those lights. You don't see those buildings. You don't even really see the sphere. It's this big building. You know it's there in your peripheral. But you're just so focused on the job and so focused on driving fast that you could be anywhere. But, I appreciate all the efforts that have gone into, do this, and the fans loved it last year. So it's part of it now, part of Formula One.
Now this year, we never really quite know what to expect from you guys when we turn up to a race. There was that period between Canada and Belgium where it looked like you almost had the fastest, you did have the fastest time in some places. Now it's dropped away. Do you understand what's going on this season and where the car's gone and why it's been like that?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do, to be honest. 21 races in, we know why we've fluctuated so much in performance. And that's because our car, when we can set it up in this window, it's just such a narrow window, we get loads of performance there. The problem is when we go to different circuits, we can't set the car up in that perfect window we want to be operating, and then we're sort of falling off a cliff in terms of performance. So we need to develop a car that is stronger over the course of 24 races, and ultimately the car we've built this year is only strong when we can get it in that sweet spot, and we can only achieve that on the occasions we have.
So clearly the target for next year will be to broaden that kind of operating window. Does that feel possible? Does that feel like something that you guys can achieve?
Yeah, I think so. It's ultimately you're always comparing versus your competitors. So, our car this year is substantially better than it was last year, but our competitors have moved forward as well. Red Bull were the gold standard, and we closed that gap to Red Bull, and we looked faster than them for a number of races, but McLaren have surpassed them. So that's the challenge. We expect it to be the four teams again at the front for 25, but there might be a curveball out there. There might be a team that gets it really wrong, and we jump them all. I mean, that's at least what I'm hoping for anyway, but it's not an easy sport.
Well, let's also talk about your personal performance this year, because your qualifying record against Lewis Hamilton, who I don't think I need to remind anyone, but has the most pole positions in the history of the sport by some margin, you're 16.5 up on him in qualifying. That sounds one-sided. Has it felt like that in qualifying this year? And do you understand why you've been able to have this edge on Lewis this year?
I've got to be honest, I'm just focused on my own job, to be honest. I jump in the car, I try and drive as fast as possible, and if I'm ahead of Lewis, it's great. He's my only reference. He's the greatest driver of all time and has the most pole position, so it gives me confidence that if the car performs, I know I can achieve the same. So, I can't speak for him. The car has been very challenging this year, there's no doubt about it. And I think, maybe it's suited my driving style a little bit more than his. I'm not too sure. But I've definitely felt like I'm performing better than ever, and I think, my results show that. It's obviously very close in the championship between the two of us, but I had the disqualification, which cost me a good 25 points, and the DNF in Silverstone when we started from pole position, also was a bit of a... These things never seem to happen when you finish in 7th and 8th. Yeah. They always seem to happen when you're at the front. But for me, we're still not where we want to be as a team. So if I'm finishing ahead of Lewis, that's not something I'll be putting on my CV.
Sure. I mean, since you joined this team, even when you were part of the junior team, Lewis has been there. He won't be next year. How different are you expecting that to be?
To be honest, I think it's going to be, for Lewis, for the team, for me, I think it's going to be a positive change for everyone. I think, the last three, those guys have been through so much success together, and they've got such great memories. These last 3 years, it just hasn't been working for any of us. And I think, changing that mould for him, what an opportunity, a fresh start. That's going to give him, loads of motivation. Now, we've got Kimi joining the team, young kid on the block. He's fully motivated. And then for Mercedes, it's the first time without Lewis now in 12 years. So it's like, right, this is the start of a new, I'm not going to say new era because it sounds too large for what it is, but it's a new season. It's a new time for us all, and we're starting from a clean sheet. So I think it was probably needed for everyone after all the success those guys have had together and the 3 years of difficulties we've had collectively.
What have you learned from Lewis in those years you've been his teammate? Because, like you said earlier, in your opinion, greatest driver in the sport. So there must be bits and pieces you've...
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't want to share too much because, I'm fortunate that I've had the chance to be his teammate. But to be honest, it's even things away from the driving, just how he deals with the team, how he talks after a race when it's been a bad race or a good race, how he lifts everyone up during difficult moments. I've learned a lot, almost about life from him. And then on the racetrack, he's so quick and really, race pace is really, really strong. He's so good when it comes to the race, and he's pushed me to be better. And I knew on my best days when I first joined the team that on my best days I'd be able to be on his level, but after these 3 years he's made me a much more rounded driver and really made me push my own self and push my own limits, which is what you need from a teammate.
Yeah, well, look forward to see what happens next year when you get Kimi in the car. Thank you very
absolutely.
much, George.
Thank you.